In the U.S., a Republican who was defeated in the New Mexico State Senate elections is arrested for orchestrating shootings at the homes of four elected Democratic officials. Local police say that Solomon Pena paid four men to target the homes of two county commissioners and two state legislators. The incidents took place in December 2022 and early January of this year. Police say that Pena was also personally involved in the shootings. The Republican lost in the race for the local Senate to an incumbent Democrat in November. Pena did not admit his defeat and posted a controversial photo of himself on social media. The photo showed him wearing clothes with slogans reminiscent of how former President Donald Trump denied his loss in the 2020 presidential vote. Daniel Shaw, professor at the University of New York, joins us. This is a pretty dramatic story. I'm sure you agree with that. I'm curious as to the personality of this person who's supposed to be a educated person, whether that's a reflection of the type of personas that exist in the U.S. system overall, and whether he took some kind of incentive from the way that the former U.S. president denied the results in his case from the presidential elections. How do you view this?
What this right-winger, Trump following candidate Solomon Pena did in Albuquerque, attacking the homes of four Democratic politicians, can you imagine if this was a left-wing socialist candidate who did something like that? I mean, this should be a bombshell. This should be the headline for every newspaper, and particularly the right-wing media is completely ignoring this because it exposes their ultimate quote-unquote prophet, Donald Trump, and all of the bullying, misinformation tactics that he has used, that so many Republicans have gotten behind. They use this outsider rhetoric as though they were the victims of this system, when in fact they're the main beneficiaries of this system. So they really invert the truth and flip reality upside down on its head. Imagine the biggest bullies in the world, and I think Trump is one of these bullies, trying to cast themselves as victims and outsiders of this system. Who could be more of an insider, particularly in the economic sense, than Trump, somebody whose personal fortunes are in the range of $3.5 billion.
Political violence in the U.S. Has obviously has been elevated in its intensity. This is one instance. There was also another instance where it involved the former U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband. Why do you think the U.S. In general, whether it's the general public or citizens, American citizens, or the politicians, have been now in a situation where their ideas are so extreme, or their approach is so extreme, to result in political violence?
We increasingly see the polarization of our society. Some Democrats have gone as far as to post pictures of George Bush Sr. and Jr. as though that were the forlorn, nostalgic era of when Democrats and Republicans could get along. I think it's important to go back to the Nationalist Socialist Party, known in history as the Nazis, and look at how they were able to appropriate progressive rhetoric, left-wing rhetoric, even socialist rhetoric against the system, as though they were anti-authoritarian, so that they could come into power when in fact they were more authoritarian, totalitarian, and anti-democratic than anybody. And this has been the Trump tactic, drawing from fascists throughout history, to try to describe himself as an outsider, as
Okay.
as though he were the one being bullied, when in fact he's the chief bully. Then when they can get into power, they turn all of their power on the workers and come up with all types of anti-labor legislation. If we look at Trump's track record from 2016 to 2020, what did he ever do for workers? He slashed taxes on the rich. He slashed programs that Social Security and child care and other programs that our families depend upon. So this has been the tactics that the Trump Republicans have resorted to recently.
Thank you so much for that, Daniel Shaw from the Answer Coalition, talking to us there from New York. We appreciate it.